Hello, Max.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, so once again, let me just introduce you real quick. So, yeah, Max is the co-founder of Arcane Finance, and yeah, he's going to talk about privacy inside the private DEX, a deep dive into exchange trading models. Yeah, and yeah, welcome, Max.
Yeah, hi everyone. So let me share my screen. Again, I'm trying to figure out how to share. Okay. Okay. Do you see? Okay, yeah. So
Yes,
you
we see
probably
you.
do see the slides and everything. Yeah. So happy to see you guys. So my name of co-founders at Arcane Finance, a private DEX on Alio. So yeah, the like today's topic is a deep dive into exchange trading models. So like yeah, we'll discuss how AMM is different from order books and like how all of that is related to privacy. Yeah, okay, yeah. So this is okay. So let me figure out how to work with slides. Okay, yeah, it works. Yeah. So yeah, Arcane Finance is a private decentralized exchange on Nelio supporting concentrated liquidity AMM and RFQ. Okay, yeah, so today's agenda, so we'll walk through different trading models like AMM, CLOB, which is centralized limit order book, RFQ, request for quotations, and yeah, we'll discuss all of that. After that, we'll see how does privacy impact different trading models, and I think we'll have some time for questions and answers. Okay, so let's start from centralized limit order books. So this thing is way older than crypto. So this is probably the only really working model of traditional finance. And you probably interacted with centralized limit order books if you traded anything on exchanges like, I don't know, like Binance, OKX, or basically any centralized exchange. Uses this model, and well, there is a buying side and selling side, and there are buying and sell side orders, and they are collected into an order book, and there is an order matching engine that checks that if prices intersect, then the deal is made. Yeah, so this is like this model is popular for a reason, because it's the most efficient in terms of capital. So you usually on such exchanges you have like limit orders and market orders, and well, this is pretty flexible. And yeah, so but there were once Ethereum, I guess, was the first blockchain that appeared, where people started thinking like, well, how can we trade assets on chain? And well, it turned out there were some issues with copying club model. So club is like centralized limit order book, and I will use this in this speech later. Yeah, so club has some challenges when we want to implement it on chain. So first, scalability. Well, as we know, like traditional finance, like think of NASDAQ or any popular platform. Well, high frequency trading is a thing there. So orders are made in a matter of milliseconds usually. And if you speak of chains like Ethereum, well, we're speaking about like seconds, minutes, and so on. So like the latency is really bad. And at centralized limit order book, you need to have market makers to do deals, right? So you kind of, your order book is kind of empty by default, and you need some people to create orders and constantly modify these orders according to the price change. So there are, like, on any, again, popular exchange, there are market makers which are constantly like creating and canceling orders, yeah, so this is impossible to do on chain because, well, first latency, you will be too late to create or retract your order, and it will cost you an arm and a leg to do just a ton of transactions without making any profits, because, well, you're just basically updating the order book without making any deals. So these issues led researchers to kind of trying to find something different. Sorry, something different, and they came up with AMM. So AMM is a thing that is unique for crypto. So as far as I know, it did not exist before. So essentially, the idea is that you are using using formulas to understand what the current price of the asset is. So, like in the most popular model, which is like constant product equation, you use the formula like x times y, well, where x is, say, like the reserves of, say, USDT, and y is the reserves of ETH, and, well, the price is constant. So the more USDT you have in this pool, the higher the price of ETH will become. Like, so basically the idea is, like, the more of certain asset is present in the pool, the lower its price. It's like less in demand. So it's like supply and demand curve. The idea is absolutely brilliant, and it works very, very well on chain. And yeah, I guess it was first pioneered by Uniswap, and, well, now there is a countless number of protocols supporting this model. Yes, its advantages are simplicity. It works very well for uncorrelated assets, something like USDT and ETH. It works pretty well when there is enough liquidity in the pools. And, well, disadvantage is in, like, new thing, like crypto specific thing, that is called impermanent loss for liquidity providers. So if you're adding ETH and USDT and the price just changes, you're losing money just because of the way this math works. And well, it becomes less profitable for LPs. So as an LP, from one side, you are generating profits by providing your liquidity. So each time the trade is made in the pool, you earn some money. And but at the same time, if the price changes, you are losing money because of impermanent loss. And if you want to withdraw your money, the loss becomes permanent. So it's called impermanent because, well, it may fix itself if the price of the assets, like, goes back to the same proportion. The issue of impermanent loss will be fixed. And well, people, like, started to think, like, well, whether it is possible to fix this somehow. And the first answer for that was, so it was particularly painful for highly correlated assets. So think of USDT and USDC, for example. They are usually traded more or less like one-to-one. And yeah, so if you have, like, slightly more USDC or slightly more USDT in a constant product pool, the price will be skewed, which is not what we usually want. And the first answer to that was stable swap pools. The first, I believe, appeared in Curve protocol, and that's why Curve is, like, super popular for stables trades. And you can see in this on this screen that the shape of the curve is really very different. So the price started to change when the difference in the pool reserves becomes very significant. Um, yeah. So yeah, the advantage is the main advantage is that we have lower slippage for highly correlated assets such as stablecoins or liquid staking derivatives. Yeah, I think I haven't mentioned this so far. So now the problem is slippage. So when the price is moving on the curve, so it's called slippage. So if you have like a very large deal to trade, so the price will move significantly on this curve, and this means that you will have something like an average price on this part of the curve. So you don't have like a constant price, but you have this slippage thing, and like the less liquidity the pool has, the more your slippage will be. And yeah, so this model, it uses just different formulas. They are kind of a little more complicated than constant product formulas. But yeah, they allow to achieve better results for highly correlated assets. But it still was not enough, and the next step is concentrated liquidity AMM. So this was pioneered by, again, like Uniswap. Uniswap v3 is probably the most popular protocol that uses this model. And so this is kind of an on-chain, something in the middle between constant product AMM and central limit order book models. So in concentrated liquidity, you are providing liquidity for a certain range, like pretty small range. So this is like similar to a limit order on a club. Yeah, so you provide liquidity into this range, and it is traded only in this range. And this allows to create, like, to concentrate liquidity around what the market thinks is kind of a real price, a fair price. And yeah, so this allows to minimize slippages when the trades are made inside the range where a lot of liquidity is provided. And also impermanent loss is under control because, well, if you provide liquidity only on a small range, so if the price goes out of this range, so your liquidity do not work in this pool anymore, and that's why you do not suffer from impermanent losses anymore. Yeah, so there are slightly different, well, very different formulas for concentrated liquidity MM, and this thing is generally like way more complicated to implement. And well, this is probably one of disadvantages. And we recently saw some, I guess, like Kyber swap, or the name of the protocol, that was recently a hack because of like subtle bug around concentrated liquidity implementation, and the hacker was able to drain the pools. Yeah, so the main advantages of concentrated liquidity model are pretty obvious. So it's like capital efficiency. So you're providing capital. You're doing with your capital like what you want to do, right? So you're providing it for any range you want to choose. While in constant product AMM, you're providing liquidity like for the whole pool, for the whole range, whether you want your liquidity to be traded on a particular range or not. Like it works there. As a result, people also have like regular users who swap have lower slippages, just again because of concentration of capital. Yeah, and also you have like flexibility. Okay, so now let's compare what we have like AMM versus centralized limit order books. Cloud is definitely better for capital efficiency because you can work with your liquidity in a very granular manner. So you can like create order like limit order, and inside this limit order there is no slippage at all. So it's like inside single limit order. There is kind of slippage for people who want to use something like market orders on clubs, but well, that's their like deliberate decision to trade against market. If they want, they can just create a limit order, and again, they have zero slippage inside this order, and this is what is called like a better capital efficiency, because well, concentrated liquidity AMM is close to that, as you're working with like pretty small range, but it's still like not flat. So there is like small slippage even inside one range. And another good thing about order books is that they do not require TVL, because well, in Uniswap like systems, you need a lot of liquidity to be just like frozen inside the pools so that like trades can be made in an efficient manner. And in clubs, you just need a lot of market makers who create orders, and like they're actually not like freezing their money for a long time. And well, as I mentioned before, at AMMs, LPs suffer from impermanent losses, which is not the case, so there is like no such thing at all on clubs. But well, the main advantage of AMM is it's better suited for on-chain programs, especially when we speak about like something like EVM chains like Ethereum and others. There are some more modern chains like Solana, Aptos, Sui that like promise better speed, like better finality, all the properties that are required by like a good implementation of club on chain, but still AMM I think is like 99% of the on-chain trading, and of course there are some attempts to build app chains that implement order books. Something like DEX is probably the most well-known example of an order book being built on chain, but well, their current version, they have like a specialized blockchain specifically for this purpose. Yeah, so but AMM is more open for liquidity providers, so like any of us can go and just put their money inside pool in any DEX. While at the same time, if you want to do the same centralized limit order book, you will need some kind of market making software that will be creating and canceling orders on your behalf, because otherwise you will be just losing money when the market moves and like your order is executed. So you have to have your like trading strategy. So it's usually that's why market making on centralized order books is usually done by professional market makers that have their specialized software and they have their own algorithms. And well, actually, I haven't mentioned this before. At the concentrated liquidity AMMs, you also need some kind of market making, because you want to move your liquidity between ranges when the price of the assets changes, because otherwise your liquidity will be provided in the range that is not actively traded right now, and well, you just won't be earning anything when your liquidity isn't used. You are not earning anything on concentrated liquidity AMM. Yeah, so another advantage is that it's easier to bootstrap liquidity at AMM, so just finding liquidity providers that are just giving your money in a trustless manner. Again, on centralized order books, this is more complicated. And well, actually, both AMM and Club are susceptible to MEV attacks. Essentially, MEV, probably the most obvious example of MEV is front running. So, for example, you want to swap USDT to ETH, and someone might see your intent to do this, and they can do sandwich attacks. So they swap right before you are swapping, thus like changing the price of the asset. So if, for example, you want to buy ETH for USDT, and they do the same, and they do like the vice versa, making the price works for you, and once you did your trade, they are like reverting their trade, and thus they are just capitalizing, and you get worse price. So, and actually by default, both AMM and clocks implemented on-chain are susceptible to such tags. Yeah, and there is a third model that is a little less popular these days. Essentially, RFQ, well, it stands for request for quotation. Yeah, so there are the orders are fulfilled by professional market makers. So you, as a user, you just come to a site and you say, hey, I want to swap this asset to that asset, and your request is being sent to a number of market makers, and their quotations are aggregated, and the best quotation is picked for you, and you can do the trade. The settlement of the trade can happen on chain, but this kind of price negotiation part happens off chain. And yeah, so this is a pretty interesting model. Actually, Uniswap v4 works kind of in a similar way. So it has flexibility to, like, you can fulfill order in many different ways. So you are not limited to using AMM with certain trading model. Yeah. And well, the advantages are, so you have like zero, as a user, as the one who wants to swap the tokens, you have zero slippage. As well, you get the price from the market maker, and then the deal is executed exactly at this price. So this is a good thing for you as a user. Another advantage is high privacy, so it's like less things are happening on chain. Well, you can just make the whole thing more private. Though it's the other side of this coin is that, well, it's more centralized and less transparent. So there is an off-chain side which is kind of not as trustless. So as a user, you want to be just careful because some malicious market maker can give you some like bad quote. And well, it's up to the platform to control these things. Yeah, so, and the disadvantage, it's not very good for price discovery. So it probably cannot be the only modal or trading modal like in the whole market. Yeah, as kind of market makers, usually how it works usually in real life, so market makers are monitoring, say, prices on Binance or some other big exchanges, and they can like create their trading strategy, and they understand like what price they can give for RFQ users, so that they are at profit. But yeah, so we need some external source of fair price to work, for this system to work. Okay, so now moving closer to privacy. So how does privacy impact all of that? As we know, Alio chain is well, its main selling point is that it is private. And so what is privacy? Well, there is kind of weak type of privacy that is that already exists on existing chains like Ethereum. So it's called pseudonymity. So it's private unless like no one knows, unless anyone knows what is your address. So once someone knows what your address is, like Ethereum stops being private. It becomes super public, like even more public than Web 2 solutions, because everyone can see what's happening, what trades are being made, and yeah, as an opposite to this, there is full anonymity, like an Alio, where users' transactions are unlinkable and no one can tell like that two transactions are from the same address. And yeah, so actually there are degrees like no privacy on public chains like Bitcoin or Ethereum. There is privacy from public in like Web2 solutions like Visa, MasterCard, Binance, or any other systems. And there are fully private ones like Tornado Cash, Monero, Helio. Yeah, so when it comes to DEXs, so what can be private on DEX and what cannot be private on DEX? So, can traders' address be private? Actually, it can be private, and more or less every DEX on Alio gives us this feature. The next step in privacy is, can order book or slash pool state be private? Because, yeah, well, it depends on whether it is club or AMM type exchange. But the answer is no. So like no AMM or order book system can be private, because well, you need to see like what you are trading against. Like automated market making, you need to see the state of the pools, like how much asset in this or that pool to define what the fair price is. And well, there is the thing that is called dark pools that actually helps to achieve these properties. And well, but this technology is pretty complicated. Because basically, yeah, dark pool by definition is a type of the pool which state is invisible for external observer. And at the same time, you want the trades in this pool to be fair, to be still according to algorithms. And well, this forces people to use things like MPCs, like technologies like MPCs, multi-party computations, which allow to achieve this property when the trades are made in a trustless manner, and at the same time, no single entity has full access to the structure of the order book. And yeah, and the third part of privacy is whether transaction before execution is private or not. And well, so far, I don't know of any systems that actually allow doing this in a DEX format. So like the trade before being executed is usually revealed in a mempool. Yeah, so this is something like all of us are working on. Yeah, so actually we don't have much time. I see it took a little longer than I thought. Yeah, just so at Arcane currently we're building Uniswap v3, like concentrated liquidity AMM, we already have constant product AMM. We are building concentrated liquidity AMM. We are building also stable swap AMM, as it can be more gas efficient than like full-blown concentrated liquidity AMM. And we are also working on RFQ and dark pool. So we're kind of trying to cover a lot of trading models. As as you could see, a lot of them have their own advantages and disadvantages. And yeah, so that's why we're working on all of this, and of course trying to remain as private as possible as we're building on Alio. Yeah, so I think that's more or less it. I don't know whether we have any time for questions and answers, so if we do, we can.
Yeah, we have 3 minutes left, so we can actually do some Q&A. So anyone has question for Max about Arcane Finance? No? Yeah, if no, I will share more resources about Arcane Finance after this. And yeah, Arcane Finance will be one of the project that is ready right after mainnet launch. So yeah, keep your eyes on Arcane Finance. And really thanks Max for spending time with us during this holiday season. Yeah, it's a very good talk. Thanks, Max.
Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, thank you, ZK, for your chance to speak. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. We hope to see you again.